So, Foch,
Yeah.
what you did that was so bad that you got thrown into the slammer, the clink.
I screwed up.
How'd you screw up?
I went into a cigar shop.
Yeah?
I didn't have no cutter.
Yeah?
So when I bought my cigar, put it in my mouth and used the house cutter.
You licked the cigar before you cut it.
Yeah,
That's an offense.
it is.
Yeah? Did you do anything else?
No.
You know what I saw a guy do once? He got thrown in the clink with you.
What?
He walked into this store that this small business poured their blood, sweat, and tears into, right? Family business. He bought his Fluben cigar, fake Cuban, and he went in the back and he smoked his own Fluben and he pontificated to everyone how great his product knowledge was and how Flubens were the best cigars in the world.
Yeah.
And they came in the back and they fully arrested him. Actually, he got a little bit of a beating. And then they locked him up and threw away the key.
Yeah.
By the way, you handcuffed.
Yeah.
You are.
They got me.
Oh, dude. How are you going to smoke cigars in handcuffs? I gotta set you free.
You do.
All right, don't get burned with the candle. Come over here. Let me set you free so we can smoke and we can drink. And we can tell some stories.
Yes.
Horror stories. They're my favorite kind of stories.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Let's go.
All right, let me set you free.
Get me unloaded. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Right, that was probably the most uncomfortable thing that's ever happened in our tenure in the cigar industry. And I'll never forget that as long as I live.
Big
No.
fireball.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
wait, I know-
Overtook,
I
like,
know-
basically his whole body.
That's a weird thing. It's an offense and it's a horror story. You think about it. Who does that?
It might be a fetish.
A fetish?
Maybe.
I don't know, bro.
You know, Maz, I love this time of year. I love the weather. I love Halloween, the costumes, the candy.
Right?
You know?
What's your favorite candy?
100 grand.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm just like a plain old school Reese cup,
Yeah, I'm a 100 grand guy.
right? And don't give me those little chintzy minis.
No.
I want the full blown,
The full bar.
right? People get the full bar when you were a kid and you go trick or treating. You change your costume like 100 times. You keep coming around the block, and you just keep going back with your pillowcase because you couldn't use a bag.
No.
Right? You used a pillowcase back in the day. It holds more. It's sturdy.
Oh, yeah.
So, I love this time of year. And this time of year makes me think of, like, obviously Halloween, fall. And when I think of that, I have to say, the cigars we're smoking today, Tatuaje.
Yep.
Pete Johnson. He does the Halloween release every year. So he's like notorious for Halloween this time of year. I'm smoking the Bone Crusher. You're smoking
Skullbreaker.
Skullbreaker.
Yep.
Great one.
Oh, yeah.
So, this is a great time of year for, like, horror stories, like telling stories. Remember, do you remember being a kid and, like, telling creepy stories?
Oh, yeah.
So that's exactly what we're doing today. We're telling our personal Halloween horror stories from Cigar Shop.
Yep.
We're going way back, too. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so let's get into it.
All right.
And you're up first. Tell me what you got.
All right. So the first one, and you probably remember this
Hold
because
on.
it happened.
Let me get ready.
All right. So it happened here
It did.
at Holt's.
Go ahead.
So we had a product that we sold called Lamborghini. So it was like an air freshener, basically. You lit it, blew it out, and let the scent permeate the air, and it got rid of the smoke.
Yeah, it was like a fragrance lamp.
Yes.
Alcohol-based solution.
Alcohol-based, yep. So a customer walks in, he goes and looks at the lamp, and I'm watching him from the humidor.
Okay.
So I see him take off the lid, and he starts smelling it. He gets it, he pours it out in his hand like he's putting on aftershave.
He puts it in
And
his
he
face.
puts it all over his face.
That's great.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I know, right? But by the way, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And obviously, in this video, we're not going to name
No,
names.
no
If we
names.
name names, they're going to be changed for, obviously, we don't wind up like Foch in jail.
Yes.
So we're going to change names, right, when appropriate.
Yeah.
But I know who you're talking about. And he prided himself in being very well dressed.
Yes.
Right, to the T. Right? Prim and proper.
I couldn't believe it.
Comes in, puts a room air freshener on. As the aftershave, slaps it on, right?
Like you just got done shaving.
I love it. That's a great one. I mean,
A true story.
And these are all true
true,
stories.
yeah.
These are all true stories. I don't know, man. That's a good one. I'm trying to think.
That's one of the better ones that I had.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You know, one of the, I guess, horror stories that I think about, and I think it might be, I don't want to say universal for a lot of shops, but some shops. There's people sometimes that like will slink around in public lounges and they'll get cigar butts.
Oh.
You notice, yeah? You've seen it firsthand. And what they'll do is that like a person will put their cigar out and the person will go and pick up the cigar butt and start smoking it.
Yep.
Right? So we had this situation.
We still have this situation.
Well, again, not all stores, but most stores probably know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And if you're a retailer out there, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like, there's always going to be a rotten apple to upset the apple cart, right? And that's a weird thing. It's an offense, and it's a horror story. When you think about it, who does that?
It might be a fetish.
A fetish?
Maybe.
I don't know, bro. But listen,
No,
it's not
really.
it's not
When you
even-
think about it, you're like, this guy's smoking somebody else's cigar.
Okay, well, listen, I'll let you go there. I'm not going to go there per se. But what I'm saying is, like, cigars are a luxury item. They're not a necessity.
Right.
There's certain necessities. Like, you need water.
Right.
Right? It's a necessity.
You need food.
You need food. You don't need cigars per se.
Yeah.
So that's a horror story. Think about, like, watching a person go into a lounge and go around and wait for somebody to put their cigar down, and they collect it, and then they smoke it themselves. That's a horror story.
Horror.
So I've seen it. You've seen it here at this location.
Yep.
I've seen it downtown. It goes back even to when we were in business together in Jersey. There was a person that did that. So that, to me, that's a horror story.
Yeah.
So these are like faux pas that are also very horrific. For people out there who are thinking, they're watching this right now, they're like, oh, turn their stomach.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting, right?
So unsanitary.
It is. But anyway, yeah, we're getting warmed up now.
Yeah.
What else you got? You got something else? Come on.
So this one happened recently, and I only saw it through a text because it was filmed on our cameras.
Okay.
And it happened downtown, by the way.
Okay.
One of our sales associates
Right.
was refilling a butane lighter,
Right.
and I don't know what happened, but as he was filling it, a big blast of fireball,
No.
fireball.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
wait, I know-
overtook
I know-
basically his whole body.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I don't know if these guys have footage of it or they can get footage of it, because obviously it might be on our security cameras. I don't
wish-
know.
That would be great if we could add it into this.
I know. I wasn't
Video.
there. So speaking of that, this is years ago. I don't even know if we were working together yet. It was possible. So I'm at the shop, and I just had started in business, and our lighter rep, which again, we'll go nameless, was, great guy. But he was from like the New Hampshire area, New England area, very prim and proper.
Right.
Like if I was going to cast a movie, he'd be the guy walking, with his kids with the sweater over his shoulder.
Yep.
And super rep, great rep. And he repped out one of these lighter companies, which was very prevalent at the time. He happened to be visiting the shop, and when he was there and he was just trying to obviously sell me goods, a customer came in with a problematic lighter.
I remember you telling me the story, but I wasn't there.
So problematic lighter. So anyway, the guy says, hey, I don't know what you could do for me, but this lighter's really messed up, blah, 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 blah. And so this rep decides to jump in and says, hey, listen, let me see if I can fix it for you. And the guy's like, I don't know if I would do that if I were you. And I was like, looking on, I was like, hey, you don't have to do that. I was like, we could just send it back. He goes, no, let me work on it. So as he's working on it, he's talking. Of course, he's a professional, so he's talking through it, being professional. But the whole time, I was looking at that lighter like it was a hand grenade in the room. And the guy who brought it in, was looking at it the same way. So we were on the same wavelength. Like, this is not going to end well. Anyway, he fills up the lighter full of butane, and then he proceeds to try to strike it. So as he goes to strike it, his whole hand was engulfed in flames. He threw it, and there was a guy sitting in a chair right next to where he was at, like one of my customers, just sitting there, and it landed on his lap. So now this guy, who's minding his own business, smoking a cigar, just minding his own business, now he's got a lighter that is in flames on his belly.
That's
And
great.
and he's trying to damp. And the guy, of course, being prim and proper, was like, "Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. How did that ever happen?" And I was like, but I'm telling you, dude, that was one of the most awkward ever encounters I've ever had.
That's funny.
I don't. Do you remember that happening?
No, I wasn't there at the time.
my
That
God,
was before
bro.
I got there.
That was very.
But
very
I do
awkward.
remember you telling me. Yeah.
But it was like if he was like a hardened guy, it would have been a little different. He'd be like, "Oh," and he threw it. But the fact that he was trying to be so professional, he talked through it, and me and the guy who brought the lighter in made eye contact, and we're like, "That ain't a good idea."
Yeah.
It was like a live hand grenade in the room.
I'll be honest with you. That actually happened to me up here once, or twice, maybe a couple times.
What do you mean?
I mean, I just
You didn't throw it at a customer.
Well, no, but
this guy panicked
no,
and threw it at a
but
customer.
I threw it. I did throw it.
You threw it?
Yeah, I threw it in the pit. But yeah,
But you didn't throw it at a customer.
No, I didn't throw it at a customer.
Could you imagine, like, just it's a random Thursday. You
Yeah.
go to a cigar shop and you're just trying to enjoy your cigar, and this rep comes in. He's speaking King's English, and he goes to light this lighter, and then he engulfs his hand and he throws it on your lap. Like, that's not relaxing.
No, not
that's a
at all.
horror story.
No.
So that's a good one.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was pretty. Like I said, it happened to me, so I know the feeling. But
What else you got?
well, this didn't happen up here. I'm going.
It doesn't matter.
No, well, I would like to tell you a story that I've seen in person, but from secondhand.
Go ahead.
So you know how we have hand sanitizer at the counter?
We do. You know, we're handling money.
Yes, absolutely. So a customer walks in. Now this happened multiple times, I believe. So he comes in, he squirts the hand sanitizer in his hand, and we're thinking obviously he's going to sanitize his hands with it.
Right.
Here he proceeds to lick it
Yeah.
and eat the hand sanitizer.
I hate to tell you.
And that's a true story.
Well, you know who told you that story?
Who?
Me.
Did you really?
Yeah, it happened to us at the downtown store.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So, you know, obviously, as you said, you know, we're touching money all day, hand sanitizer, the whole thing. And the guy pumped this hand sanitizer and he went like excessive with it. And all of a sudden he was like, and he licked it like it was a Slurpee, dude. And I was like, what is going on? But obviously it's an alcohol-based solution, right? So,
I mean, that's...
Yeah, no, he did that. He
That's
definitely
crazy.
did that. Again, unnamed. We won't go to name. By the way, I know that person's name, not full name,
right.
first name. But anyway,
That's crazy.
so Foch, I got a good one for you.
All right.
So I'm downtown at the store. It's like 10:30 in the morning. This woman walks in who looked fairly normal. I mean, and she really did. Usually, like downtown, you never know, right? What are you going to get? This woman walks in and she just immediately, I'm up front, and she immediately says, "Holy Holt!" This wide-eyed look. I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" She was like, "Hey, you guys have a lounge in the back?" And I was like, "Yeah, we have a lounge." She was like, "Can I drink back there?" I was like, "No, you know, we don't serve liquor."
Right.
I was like, "We have a cigar bar
She
above
wanted
us."
to drink at 10:30.
10:30 a.m. She was like, "Do you have a lounge?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you smoke?" She was like, "No." I was like, "So what do you want to use the lounge for?" She was like, "I want to drink." I was like, what do you? I was like, there's 1,000 bars in the downtown area in Philadelphia. I was like, "So what are you coming here for?" She was like, "I just want to drink back there." So you're telling me I can't go back there? I can't bring my own? I was like, "No. There's no part of you cannot drink here in our lounge. It's a cigar lounge." But she was looking to get a cocktail
Wow.
at 10:30 in the morning. But she insisted on coming inside the store in our lounge and drinking, as opposed to going to 1,000 bars in the area.
Jesus, you know,
Yeah,
she has a problem.
yeah. But her face, I'm telling you, dude, when she walked in, I was like, oh, maybe she's going to ask for a gift item, or maybe cigars for herself. Well dressed, right? And
Wow.
boom, comes out with that Holy Holt's, wide-eyed.
You never know, dude.
You never know. You never know. So what else you got?
So I got one more, and you know the story. Actually, it happened at our shop.
I might be able to add to it, but go ahead. It's a long time ago. I think I know
ago.
what you're going to talk about.
You
Go ahead,
know.
go.
So we're at the shop. We get a phone call. So obviously, caller ID is around.
Well, that was the thing back then.
Back in the day, caller ID. So we look at the caller ID and we see the name. And
Right.
here, it happens to be the name of one of our good friends.
Right, but by the way, he didn't go by this name. So basically, it was his God-given name, but he
Right.
went by his middle name.
Right.
And he was known to prank call the shop.
Yes.
So he would call us and he would ask us for the craziest crap ever.
Yeah.
And then he would disguise his voice. So when his real name came up from the area code, which is close to the shop,
Yeah, it
we thought for sure it's him pranking us.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So You answered the phone.
I did answer the phone.
So you answered the phone.
Yep.
The customer proceeds to ask for, hey, do you guys have clove cigarettes? And at the time, we sold them. And his voice sounded odd.
So, like, I passed the phone over to Foch, and I'm like, Foch, you gotta listen to this voice. Like, this is our guy, like our friend. So he listens, and Foch engages him a little bit. And I get it back, and he's like, obviously the caller is perplexed because like we're passing the phone along, we're hesitant in answering. So he again repeats, "Do you carry clove cigarettes?" I was like, I looked at him, I was like, "Yeah, we got him." And cursing him out because I think it's my buddy whose God-given name comes with the caller ID. And the guy's just like, okay. And he was like, what time you guys close? I was like, 8 o'clock. And then I was like, okay. And we hung up. And I said to him, I was like, dude, I don't think it was just our guy.
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah, true.
Yeah. So then I call my friend whose real name came up with the caller ID. And I was like, hey, blank, did you just call here and prank us? He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So this dude walks in, and he walks in like with his tail between his legs. He's like, hey, I called earlier. Do you have clove cigarettes? I was like, oh my God.
And we were like,
oh my God,
are
dude.
you so-and-so? And
he was like, yeah. I was like, and we had to try to explain to him that our buddy who has his God-given name, and it came up with caller ID, that's why I cursed this guy out. Called him a million names.
Called him every name in the book.
Every name in the book. So that's a horror story that was squarely on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Like this astronaut's shoulders.
Yeah.
I can carry the load. Came at me. I definitely, that's a horror story.
It was hysterical. You had to be there.
I mean, talk about sticking your astronaut boot in your mouth. I totally.
Oh, yeah, you did it. You did it that day.
I give that guy credit because I don't know if this person's going to be watching us. He probably don't smoke cigars. Maybe not.
Probably not.
But he came in regardless of the fact that I called him every name in the book because I thought it was my buddy prank calling us. So that is a horror story on a personal behalf.
Yep.
Right? That was probably the most uncomfortable thing that's ever happened in our tenure in the cigar industry. And I'll never forget that as long as I live. And our buddy, of course, whose real name was the caller ID name, because he's a prankster, thought it was the funniest thing that ever happened in his life. Yep. And he still talks about it to this day. Yeah. But yeah, so I berated an innocent person just because he was looking to smoke a cigarette and relax at night. And he had the guts to come in, or the cojones to come in and actually purchase clove cigarettes, which we carried at the time.
Yeah. I mean, there is one more.
We got another one.
Well, you're going to have to tell it.
I don't know.
Yeah, you know it.
No, tell me. No, you tell me. You tell me.
You remember.
Go ahead.
You thought the lady was his mother. Should we tell that?
You should tell it.
No, I'm not telling it.
No, you should tell it.
No.
It's very
well, it happened to you.
And it happened to me, but it's very uncomfortable.
But I don't remember if I was there.
So
I think this is the worst.
No,
You agree?
No, I don't agree.
Dude,
I cursed that guy out. I called him names. I'm telling you.
But I don't know.
You weren't there for it. But you were there for it, but you didn't hear the silence on the other end. It was terrible with that phone call. But anyway, this one's equally as bad. I definitely stuck my foot.
But yeah, you're gonna have to tell it because obviously it happened to you. And
so this guy used to come into the shop. He was very much in shape for his age. He was like a male dancer, and he would come in fairly regularly. This is Jersey shop. This isn't the Holt.
No, not Holt.
And he would come in all the time. And then one time, unbeknownst to us and me, he sent his wife in. But she was much older. And he always told us that he was married or with a much older woman, right? But I never realized, in my mind, how much older that she might look like. So this woman comes in, and she says, I want to buy cigars for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. I was like, are you, in my sweetest possible voice ever, I'm like,
this is horrible.
I know, it's hard for me to even say. I think I have sunglasses. I don't want to show my eyes.
This is bad.
I said to her, are you blank's mother? And she was like, what? She was so upset. She was like, I am his whatever, fiance, girlfriend, wife. And my stomach, I felt it. I felt like somebody's. It was so uncomfortable. How do you recover? And honestly,
from that?
Not only did I not recover from it, I said that blank looks good for his age. So I didn't expect his significant other to look much older. And I thought that would settle things. That did not settle things. She begrudgingly bought something for Blank, never came back. And when Blank came back, he was never kind of same customer again. I definitely pooched that.
Yeah,
But
that was
bad.
I mean, that was. Like I said, I think that was the worst.
I'd be gonna be honest with you. He should have gave us forewarning and said, my significant other is much older than me. He just said older. So when she walked in, I just thought it was his mom.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a couple of the horror stories definitely reflect on me, but they're horror stories.
They
I mean,
definitely
we're all guilty in this. No
Yeah.
pun intended with your...
Thank you.
Yeah. We're all guilty of this horror stories in cigar shops.
Yeah.
So you got to watch yourself. You never know.
That's
if
true.
you go into a store, don't be the subject. We were not going to name names.
No.
But you'll know who you are. And we're going to implicate you, right? Flash will talk. He needs to get out of jail soon,
Yeah.
right? He'll sing like a bird,
Yeah.
right? Like this raven, whatever
Yep.
this blackbird is, whatever
Yeah.
this thing is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks like a sparrow. It's all busted up.
It's a crow. Or
It's a crow. I don't know. But he will sing like a bird. If you come into our store and you give us another horror story, because guess what? Halloween's coming next year too. We'll definitely tell his tale. So Foch, how was that for Halloween cigar shop horror stories?
It was some of the best I've heard. All
Listen,
true.
And I feel like I was very uncomfortable. I shared a lot. A lot of it had to do with me personally.
Yeah.
But other people too.
Sure.
Other people too.
Yeah.
And you know what? I want to hear from everyone out there.
Yep.
Our subscribers. I know some of them are retailers. They know what we're talking about. Or just consumers that hang in lounges. They have their own horror story.
Yeah.
I want to hear your horror story from a cigar shop.
Definitely.
So drop us a comment and let us know.
Yep.
But before we depart, make sure you hit that like button.
Smash the subscribe button.
And we'll see you here next time.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.